Hey, what's up guys? Matt, Cichlid Dojo, back with another update. As you can tell, today's update is on the Herichthys Deppi, or Deppii. If you follow my fish room update videos, I think I mentioned in there that I had got a bunch of footage of their last spawn, which is this. I just hadn't gotten around to putting a video together for you guys, but I promised I would do that within the week, and I'm doing that for you here. So it was a pretty darn big spawn, to be honest. None of which were pulled, none of which survived. This is a big community tank that they're in with plenty of other fish, good sized fish. These Deppi, of course, are the dominant fish in the tank. They basically control that back left corner in that pot that you're seeing here. But there's, you know, if you don't follow the channel, there's all kinds of other species in there, such as there's a Herichthys carpentis pair, a blue Texas pair. There's a couple extra female blue Texas. And to give you some size range here, these Deppi are, I would guess, the male's around 8-9 inches, female might be 6 inches, and all the other fish are very similar in size, with the exception of the one Vieja Synspillum, which is in the tank. And if you really want to see the whole community in action, guys, I think I posted a community tank update maybe 2-3 weeks ago. I encourage you to check that out. There's no spawn occurring in there in that video, but that's what this video is for. So along with those species that I mentioned, there's also I believe 6 Cribroheros alfari, which are doing really well, and they're decent size too. They're, I would say, 5 to 6 inches. And then there's a real pesky female Trimac that, you know, just tries to instigate all the time, always trying to butt into this pair and steal the male away. And so obviously the females, this female Deppi and the female Trimac, are always kind of going at it. But this male, you know, chose to spawn with his female. And so once that occurs, the Trimac doesn't really have not much that she can do. You know, she'll stay back a little bit more because you know, the protective mode of the female amps up, and you know, when they have fry and they're breeding, and so there's no chance for that Trimac during this time. But the other times it's actually pretty entertaining because it ends up being more equal for them to go at it. None of them really doing any damage to each other, but they always sort of bicker back and forth, and after that there's a few with some silver dollars, and I think there's a firemouth in there too. So, but back on topic, this Deppi spawn. You know, I'm really enjoying the species. It's my first time keeping them. If you haven't followed this before, this is a wild caught pair, Rio Bobos, and I was very fortunate to come up on these guys from a buddy who was looking to get rid of them, and you know, they weren't really top of my list on next species I would actively try to pursue, but when they came available, you know, they jumped right up, you know, and I couldn't pass on that. And you know, I really couldn't be happier. You know, coloration is more than what my expectations were. Aggressiveness, I heard that they were extremely aggressive before I got them, and they have lived up to that for sure. You know, I originally put them in there with a whole colony of Carpentis. That's what this tank was at one point, and there were 4 pairs in there. Pairs bigger than this pair of Deppi, and this Deppi pair, didn't take them long to really start pushing their way around in that tank and somewhat become dominant. And so for that reason, I switched gears there. I went away from the Carpentis tank, and then I moved along with most of them except for a couple pairs, which I still have. And so anyways, really enjoying this species. They are very frequent and consistent breeders. This might be the, I believe, 3rd or 4th spawn. I only pulled the first batch. It's a species I don't know that will move too much, although I have had a lot of requests for fry, and so for all you that are following this for their fry to be ready, I would guess that probably about a month or less. They're growing pretty fast. You can actually watch their fry, that first batch, in a 10-gallon. I think I showed them a little bit in my fish room update video that I just put up this week. And they're doing good. I mean, they're down to a group of maybe 60 to 75, which is totally fine here. I don't, for a 10-gallon tank, that's actually pretty good to keep that size. It's really hard for me to keep 200, 300 fry going in that 10-gallon. And unfortunately, that's all I can provide the fry right now. But I'm pretty confident I can get them to that, 3/4 of an inch plus size where, I've kind of done that where I've been able to ship fish out a lot of every species basically around that size, and they've done really well. So keep an eye on that, guys. I'll definitely mention first in some of my videos, or try my best to mention first in the videos when those become available. And then you guys feel free to contact me through any of those methods. But anyways, back to this pair. Really liking them. Frequent spawning in between the spawns. The male does get a little bit more aggressive and can go after the female a bit, but this colony or group in this 180-gallon tank really serves. It's basically doing what I thought it would. And it's allowing that aggression to be spread out, and male can focus more on the other fish. He does go after the male Carpentis in here, same genus, and so that's playing out really well. None of them are getting beat up. Carpentis pair kind of holds their own ground, and they'll spawn in the middle of the tank. And so a lot of his focus and anger goes towards Carpentis, or even that bigger Vieja Sinspilum. I see them flaring up at each other. And again, not a whole lot of damage is occurring, but that aggression is being spread out really well, which is something I discovered that I needed with this pair. Some people might be able to get a pair and keep them in their own tank on their, without other fish, and that's great. I don't think this pair is one of those. I tried it initially when I got them, and it did not go very well. I had to abort that plan immediately and move to plan B, which is this, and I'm totally fine with this plan because it's really fun to watch this community tank in action, and when they spawn, it's really fun to watch this as well. Their fry won't last very long. They'll get eaten up, or that aqua clear 110 that you see up in the top will suck up most of the fry. So not really interested in pulling and growing out tons of batches of this species, but always try to have a few of them at least in the works in case people start getting interested in this species. And that's another thing. One of the biggest things, or maybe kind of one of my goals, is to really also obviously experience new species for myself and discover if I really truly like them. I mean, there's a lot you can only a little bit you can decide by looking at pictures and watching videos online, which may be very limited for certain species that aren't very popular, like this one. I didn't see a whole lot of examples that really convinced me to go after them aggressively and acquire some, but keeping them myself, I thought, wow, they look better in person than I ever thought they would, based on what I could see out there, and that may just be function of the cameras not showing off their true beauty, but you kind of never know unless you give it a shot. And so I'm really glad I did. And you know, this is another reason I, you know, try to, you know, devote actually around 60% of my tanks, it's maybe 70 are devoted to growing out fry for, you know, having them available and distributing for anybody interested. And I try to show species like this off that may not be very popular in the hobby, which I don't think Deppi are very popular at all. You know, versus the Carpentis, the blue tex is extremely popular. And so species like this, I think, need more, you know, more attention, and hopefully more hobbyists will start to show them off and display them well. And so, you know, people can see that, hey, maybe they want to try a species like this, and then maybe I'll have some fry available, you know, try to work that hand in hand and help out any of you guys interested. So a little bit on my goals, but you know, moving forward, really liking this pair again, loving to watch this batch of fry, and they just keep getting bigger and bigger. This is their last batch, and as I mentioned, this happened probably 2-3 weeks ago, and I believe they're sitting on another pot of fry right now that haven't started free swimming. I may skip the video footage this time around since you know, I don't want everybody to get bored of the same old videos here, but I'll get another one of them in the future for sure. So anyways, really appreciate you guys tuning in, and if you do me a big favor and subscribe to the channel if you're not already, like the video, leave your comments, good or bad. You know, I like all of them, and there's a little more footage here, so stay tuned if you're interested. If not, I'll catch you on the next one, guys. Thanks. Take care.